And I don't know where we get so skewed into shoving pieces of ourselves and emotions and our expressions under the rug. Like not expressing ourselves or allowing ourselves to be and work through those harder expressions. Hey mama, welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self-awakening journey to learning your energy of alignment and feeling good again. This is your weekly sanctuary to wake up from autopilot and transform the way you approach motherhood and life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It's my mission to help you embody the foundations of self-love, trust, and inner connection to be unapologetic in the evolution of who you are. Here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light. If you are ready to get to the roots of cultivating real change, warm up that cold coffee, pop in your earbuds, and tighten that top knot, mama. Let's discover our power within together. Welcome. Hello. Welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, formerly the Balanced Mom Method podcast. This is officially the first episode as Naturally Empowered Living. If you are new here, hi, welcome. I'm so happy and thankful that you're here. I am your host, Jenna Smith, your instinctive meditation life mentor, intuitive energy healer, and guide for moms for you on how to wake up from autopilot to be unapologetically yourself in this crazy, unforgiving, rigid, beautiful world. We're bringing it back to our roots of embodiment of the feminine as well as the masculine parts of ourselves. All that makes us human, like the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light. This is Naturally Empowered Living. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode 89, titled A New Chapter, The Transition from the Balanced Mom Method to Naturally Empowered Living, I shared how that was the last episode of the Balanced Mom Method and why for the change, as well as, of course, I get a little deep. I'm not a surface level girl here. And I share my personal just reflections and struggles and revelations that led me to this rebranding of my podcast to Naturally Empowered Living, and how that change signifies a return to the roots of my soul mission, focusing on self-love, trust, interconnection. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, put that next on your podcast listening to-do list, because I feel that I shared not only vulnerabilities within my story, but also just some pretty strong heart-to-heart nuggets for you to hopefully resonate with you. So yes, yay, Naturally Empowered Living. One thing that I shared last week that I do want to just repeat here with what Naturally Empowered Living means to me, because I wrote this name down years ago, years and years ago, before I started a business, before I even knew like a business was in the realm of my possibilities within my calling. And before I became a mom, like it's been with me for years and years. And when I wrote it down, I wrote down naturally authentically from within, empowered courage to be unapologetically you, living conscious, intentional awareness to stay true and always come back home to yourself when hardships arrive or when you stray away, right? And today I want to kick off the first episode with diving into saying yes to all parts of ourselves, honoring all parts of ourselves. And I didn't say accepting yet, because I do feel that accepting all parts of ourselves, it has a little more forceful tone if you're someone that's a little timid into jumping, 2 feet into this context. Because we do have so many parts of ourselves that we might not be proud of yet, or that have proven us wrong, or have gotten us into trouble, or that we feel shameful of, or that have gotten shoved under the rug because of external factors, made us feel weak or just inferior because of, right? So those shadows that we might be fearful of or ashamed of or vulnerable because of, it just might bring up some not so easy emotions or feelings or sensations or thoughts within us when I say this. So that's why I really want to dissect this today, because I want to begin to unpack and shed some light on this topic for you to take away and reflect more for yourself within honoring all parts that make you you, all parts that make you human, a beautiful human being, right? And how we can do that. So a little more like, what do I mean? Like I mentioned a little bit last week, how we have so many different layers to our existence. Our inner childhood, our adolescent, our adulthood, core memories, experiences that make up our responses to the world around us, triggers. With that, like there's so much that make us us. And we have so many different parts of ourselves that make us who we are also. I mean, the mom, the chef, the chauffeur, if you work outside the home, if you work inside the home, your hobbies, your passions, like what makes you you? And just think, like through the course of the day, a woman, let alone just like letting out or taking away like the hobbies and the passions and the desires, like we play many roles of mother, lover, employee, boss, chauffeur, cook, maid, friend, hostess, student, accountant. It's just all these things. All these roles represent a different way of being in the world, a different inner character, if you will. And they all might have their own sets of emotions, right? If you're playing the mom card, you might have to, pull for that patience a little bit more. Or the lover, you might bring out your love language of physical touch, right? There's so many different ways of expression. And how often, or I should say, how easy is it to shove the nervous part or the anxious part or the irritable, bitchy part under the rug because she isn't quote unquote accepted in society, or that's not how I quote unquote should act in this situation. Like we could go on and on. And these might be the things that we might not be quote unquote proud of yet, right? So why is this important? Because we're human and this is our human experience. And I don't know where we get so skewed into shoving pieces of ourselves and emotions and our expressions under the rug. Like not expressing ourselves or allowing ourselves to be and work through those harder expressions because of the world or how we think we should act, right? What that does is it creates a dysregulated nervous system, discomfort within our own bodies. We feel disconnected from our own bodies, from ourselves, and lack of emotional intelligence. Like that's just a few things that is what happens when we shove these emotions under the rug or get them so compounded deep within us that they turn into shadows, right? That they turn into pieces of ourselves that we have no idea who they are anymore. And life is a natural play of opposites. Just think like the sun and the moon, day to night. We breathe in, we breathe out. We go in one direction. And we also must go in the opposing direction at some point in time. Like we fall asleep to wake up again. We cry to be relieved. We yield to healing to go through that shit in order to become strong. Stability comes not from remaining rigid, but from constantly making these fluid, flowful adjustments into the ebbs and flows and the syzygy. Look that word up. It's a beautiful word that I learned in my instinctive meditation class. Like you think of the infinity symbol, right? And you have let's say on one end of the infinity symbol, you have the extrovert. And on the other side, it's the introvert that just wants to be home and lay on the couch tonight, right? So on one side, and then it flows to the other. Like it's a celebration of who we are. It's not a problem, right? If you are that nervous Nancy, it's for a reason. And we have to give ourselves space for those opposites to fully articulate within ourselves and to be expressed and to be heard, or they're going to keep coming up. So every once in a while, we could really sit with this and reflect in this beautiful ebb and flow of the opposites of our lives and to allow and bring up all pieces that make us us. So you could kind of think of this list of kind of share a little more examples of, if you lose control, that can help you develop greater control. Think of that infinity symbol. Relaxation leads to fears and tensions coming up to be released. Accepting your fears and tensions leads to deeper relaxation. Expressing your anger and hurt leads to the possibility of forgiveness and healing. Surrendering to feelings and crying can lead to recovering and moving on. Descending into grief may lead to healing. Letting yourself feel the chaos may lead to order. And I'm not saying this is so black and white. Like that's why I was saying it may lead to this or it can lead to this, right? Opposite movements, they might seem contradictory to each other, but they are so complementary to each other. And another very important reason why honoring ourselves is important is because attention typically goes towards what is unresolved. I know that I've said on the show before that our subconscious minds will continuously bring things up to our conscious mind, to our conscious awareness that we need to work through, heal through, learn a lesson about. Like, you're still going to be presented with the same experience until you learn the lesson. Like, oh my gosh, why does this keep happening to me? An example that just came to my head, my husband, terrible road rage, but it's true. Like, there are always, I'm not discrediting any sort of driver, but he always gets stuck behind, quote unquote, the drivers that go below the speed limit, the drivers that pull out in front of you and there's no car behind you. Like, just wait the extra 2 minutes. And I always joke with him because I said, you have to heal and work through your rage because like you're bringing more of it to you. Like, that is a perfect example. And I'm glad that I just thought of that because it's a perfect example that you're going to keep being brought the same sort of experiences until you are able to work through them. So the same concept in another light. I'm still laughing that I thought of that example. I love it. A little more science to this is that there's a field of magnetism. Okay. The electromagnetic field within everything, right? So within us, around us, and the electricity and the energy, it has a tension to it, a flow to it. Okay. And this is a good thing. Tension is a good thing. It's showing us possibly what has to be, quote unquote, tuned. So another example of how to think about this is like guitar strings or any instrument for that matter, you have to tune to get to the proper tension of your guitar string to make that beautiful resonating sound that vibrates within the air. And within our lives, it's the same type of thing. Our attention will naturally go towards that tension to allow our instincts to naturally tune in. And it's within us to notice it and to listen to it. And to find a modality like meditation to be able to heal through it, to relax enough to allow our instincts to naturally tune it. And it might feel painful, but it might simultaneously feel pleasurable, like massaging sore muscles, right? It hurts. Oh my gosh, it hurts so bad to massage, this sore muscle, but it also feels so good in the same. So finding that modality for you, like meditation, we're allowing ourselves to let our body naturally enter a healing phase that will feel the same process going on within ourselves, within our nerves, within our energy, within our flow. And it's just like this pain, but oh my gosh, like I feel it coming to surface. Like, it's this beautiful ebb and flow. So now, how can we do this? Like, how can we honor all parts of ourselves? And I know I already kind of mentioned meditation, but first and foremost, we have to learn for us a way to allow these parts of ourselves that maybe we've shoved under the rug, or these shadow parts of ourselves, or these stuck emotions, compounded emotions. We have to figure out how to allow them to come to surface. These inner characters, they can show up as moods. These parts of ourselves, they could show up as moods, emotions, inner dialogue, body sensation, visual images. Allow them to speak. Allow yourself to sit with these feelings when you are in a good mental space, right? You always have the choice to say no. And I know that I've said this on this show also, that you always have the choice to say no, not today. But when you are ready, allow them to speak. That communication, it might not be in words. Some parts may speak through if you just feel like you need to listen to a song, or you resonate with movement, or you feel like these sensations within your bodies. Like, it's our job to listen and to appreciate and to learn. And when we finally allow ourselves to do that, to connect to ourselves, to return to really the attention within our bodies, within ourselves, maybe just focusing on your breath or that movement that you're naturally just kind of swaying to, allow your attention to flow back and forth between what's just coming up. Allow yourself to just be. Human beings, like, we are so complicated. Like, we need to make an effort to just be. And we need to make an effort to harmonize and link together these many parts of ourselves, right? And it takes work. It takes this regular maintenance, a ritual, a practice to do this. And we can suffer if we neglect, this work being meditation, prayer time, journaling, automatic writing, like whatever it is for you. And this is where meditation for me is a big part. It's a meeting ground for all parts of yourselves. And I still meditate and pray within the same. And we can work so hard to balance like all these roles, right? The mom, the wife, the friend, the referee, the cook. And in meditation, they can show up within our inner world as well. As we're struggling so hard to balance these within our physical outer world, allow them to come up within meditation. Because when you take time for yourself to meditate, any and or all parts of these selves, they might all be screaming at you for attention. And within your meditation, this is where a lot of us, we feel like meditation has to be so black and white and I have to quiet my mind. And that might be a goal for the day. But in meditation, allowing yourself to just be, allowing yourself to bring your attention to whoever is screaming the loudest for you, right? Like all these pieces of you, they're vying for your attention. And it's often when we allow ourselves to go where we're called, we allow ourselves to bring our attention to where we are called, to that inner voice that's calling for us. That's where the magic happens. And something to note here is because our inner world, like within your meditation, you might be seeing random symbols or imagery or hearing metaphors within your mind. It might not make sense. So to be able to free yourself from the bounds of like the literal reality of the outside world, because your inner self, it might say things or do things, or like you might have these random thoughts come up that might just feel like physically impossible or morally inappropriate, right? It doesn't matter in this space, in your safe space that you are giving yourself, this sacred space that you're giving yourself to allow everyone to just come up, to be heard. It doesn't matter what is happening. What matters is the quality of the energy that is seeking acknowledgement. And I don't want to say it doesn't matter what's happening, because obviously it's in the safe space of meditation. It's not like you're physically doing anything. You are not doing harm ever. The disclaimer here, we are never doing harm to yourself or anyone else. It's within, I feel like something that I really struggled with, this is a little bit of a tangent. I don't want to go too far off in it, but something that I really struggled with this concept was, well, oh my gosh, I don't want to manifest something negative if I'm having these negative thoughts come up in my meditation. Like, this is that sacred space. It goes back to, it's not your thoughts that dictate the manifestation. It's within your intentions, right? It's not the thoughts that matter. It's within your intentions. So your intentions are to work through or to allow yourself to feel heard and seen and loved and embraced. Okay. So 3 reflections for yourself within this type of ritual that you could come back to, or pause me now as I go through these so you can write them down, that I took from a book that I'm reading right now, Meditation Secrets for Women. Such an amazing book. I'll link it in the show notes below. But just something just to ponder, like as you're thinking through this meditation or this practice, or how can I really fall into this meditation, is, do you sense that something is missing from your life? What inner character is calling for you? Does it speak in a whisper, a cry, a giggle, a shout? Do you know if it's yourself as a child, or maybe an adolescent, teenager, or present time? What area of your life is it concerned about? How can you honor its wisdom and satisfy the desire? And what quality of expression are you ready to say yes to? What taboos are you ready to sit with? Which energies do you find just the most familiar and comfortable, and which are the most difficult to accept? Because sooner or later, you're gonna know that it's okay to befriend those harder emotions, those harder energies, because they're still a part of you. And you can calm them, you could soothe them, you could bring them back to the light, to the love. And when you're ready to approach them, you could talk with them, and they'll approach you too. I know this might sound crazy, like you don't need to be sitting there talking with yourself, but just allowing yourself to be. And sometimes, most of the time, like our shadows, or just those compounded emotions, those energies that get so compounded, they have incredible teachings. And if you honor your complexity, simplicity will emerge. But I feel like the fear is, I'm already so much in survival mode. Gosh, I don't have time to sit with this right now. And then it just stays complex. But once you are able to release those emotions, they're heard, they're seen, they're listened to, you're able to release them, transmute them, alchemize them, however you want to describe it, back into love, recycle them, whatever you want to say, right? You're healing yourself. And that, again, that is where the magic happens. So learn to be sensitive to those calls within yourself. Learn to be sensitive enough to connect with yourself, to hear who's calling for your attention. Let your energy and your spirit flow through you to inform you. Let it find its own expression in some way. Going through my meditation certification, I don't dance. Have I shared this yet in this episode? I know I did on a guest episode I was a part of recently. I don't dance. I've never danced. I'm scared to dance because I have no rhythm. But a part of me wants that fluid movement. Like through this certification, I've found myself dancing more, and I'm like, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful expression. And just between dancing or painting, intuitive, automatic writing, to allow yourself to free up your energy, to move your energy, then you can meditate to center your energy again, to come back home and reclaim it within your life. So that's this episode today. Like that was a lot. I feel like we just covered a lot in 20 minutes. I hope that it resonated. I hope that you could take away and take some time to reflect. Let it be through automatic writing, through movement, through dance, through meditation, and sit with this. Sit with yourself and those parts that you might feel ashamed of or fearful of, or parts that you've shoved under the rug for so long. When you're ready, allow them to speak, because they have amazing, beautiful messages to share with you. None that will ever, again, disclaimer, like none that will ever, this isn't a conversation about ever doing physical harm to yourself, others, anything like that. Please seek medical help if you don't feel safe with yourself. If you do not feel safe with yourself, seek medical help. Reach out to me. I will help you get connected with someone. This is where, when you feel safe with allowing these energies, these emotions, these feelings to come up for you to be able to work through them. So, my friends, you may not have noticed, probably not, I updated the description of this show also. And at the end of the description, I added a link for you to be able to totally anonymously fill out a Google form. So you could fill out a form letting me know what your biggest struggle is currently in life. Because I would love to create a podcast episode around it, around what you are needing. And like, what better way than to ask you directly? So you could share as much or as little as you feel comfortable. I will record a podcast episode, again, completely anonymous, around your submission with tips and advice and rituals, meditations, resources, like whatever comes to me. Who knows what it's going to be, like, but whatever flows through me. However, I know that there's going to be a whole lot of solidarity, empathy, empowerment, love, because you are never alone. You are never alone, and you have everything inside of you to get through this season. So you could grab the link in the show notes of this episode to fill out the form, or anytime go to the description of this show and it will also be there. So until next week, as always, simply be you, my friends. My mamas, I love you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and be unapologetic in who you are. I'm sending my love and light.
Did you find this episode relatable or empowering? Peace with my love of you.
Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. I pray this episode has brought you a step closer to tuning into your energy of alignment. And if it has, please consider leaving a written review sharing how this show has impacted you. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps other moms find their way to this community. And if it feels right, please share this episode with another mom who might be struggling, to remind her that she's never alone. Be sure to check the show notes for more ways to connect and explore how we could work together to reclaim your power and deepen your relationship within. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.